Hola muchacho! Do you recognize me? It's Stefan from the Metahuman universe. You wanna know how I achieved this? Come along and follow this video. I'm gonna show you every step of the process. No more secrets. Trust me. Let's go! First, of course, you need to scan yourself. You can use video or images and directly jump into software like Lightroom to get a consistency over all your shots and go to reality capture. Here I'm using this software, but you can use another one, of course, and I'm just getting into the classical pipeline from aligning, creating the mesh itself and texturing it. After that, I'm just exporting everything as an FBX with a color texture. Once the whole process of scanning and reconstituting a 3D model is complete, here I take an extra step using ZBrush, which is absolutely not mandatory, as you can import your mesh directly into Unreal as it is in the first place. But as I often use ZBrush, I like to clean up my models and get rid of anything that isn't necessary. Before jumping into Unreal, you want to make sure you downloaded the Metahuman plugin from the marketplace, and that is up to date with the current version of your engine. Now into Unreal, I'm creating a simple scene with the traditional extra lighting just to demonstrate next steps of this video. Once it's set up, you have to go to Settings, Plugins, and enable the Metahuman plugin. You'll have to restart the engine, and if you have some messages like this, missing project setting, just enable missing, and after another restart, you'll be good to go. Now let's jump into creating your Metahuman. First, import the FBX model of your scan. Make sure in the advanced settings you enable combined meshes. Sometimes remove degenerate can help too. And now you will have two assets, your static mesh and a material. If your color texture doesn't come with it, just make sure to import it. And after that, just plug your color texture in the material just created. Get rid of the color and just plug the RGB into the base color. After that, you have your model with your texture, and that's a really good starting point. Make sure to rename all your assets because we're gonna manage a lot of data after that. Now go to Metahuman Animator after right-clicking in your content browser and create a Metahuman Identity. It will load and ask you to connect with Bridge and your Epic account. After that, you can just create components from Mesh and select the static mesh of the scan you just imported. Now you have your mesh, and next step is to create some keyframes. Before going any further, make sure that in your viewports you turn on Unlit mode. You will also want to make sure to adjust your field of view with a value like 18, just in order to make more like an orthographic view, and then ease the next steps of the process. Now you want to place your mesh. Make sure you have all the face view and just click on the plus icon in order to promote a keyframe. You can name it front view and then right click on it and activate the auto tracking on. Now you will see all the guides that will help you create your Metahuman afterward. By right clicking you can lock your camera in order to avoid moving your mesh and just zoom in like in an image. Like so, you can move and adjust your guides, but here try to take things slowly because it will heavily impact the final results. Once you're happy with the results, you can just click on Metahuman Identity Soul. After reading a little bit, you can unlock your camera by clicking on the icon with the cursor and the camera. You can now see the results by alternating views using icons at the top of your viewport. If you select the template mesh from the outliner on the left side, you have the option to activate eyes and you will see this problem. It can happen if you didn't select the use-driven eyes when you select your neutral pose. You can redo the operation, select the use-driven eyes and rerun a Metahuman Identity Soul. Now everything is in order and you can continue check and verify if you're happy with the final result. Final step is to select your body components and just choose a body type. After that, go to Mesh to Metahuman and click on Auto Rig Identity. skeletal mesh plus full metahuman. By doing so, you will have a full metahuman that you can customize afterwards in the Metahuman Creator. Now go to your internet browser and type Metahuman Creator. After loading a little bit, you will have access to your latest metahuman you just created with all the process we did. You have access to the classical editor of the metahuman with few poses and animation at the bottom, all the features that you can customize afterwards on the left, and some specific lighting setup, view, and render quality that you can find in the top left corner. Custom Mesh is the first feature that you can find under Face that will allow you to edit the overall influence between the basic mesh and the result of your scan. You can select different regions and also toggle different scenarios like a smile or a complete animation in order to see the result. You can enable editing and duplicate and unlock or just unlock the character. By doing so, you will allow access to 3 new modes: the Fusion mode, Sculpt, and Move mode. These blend tools will help you curate and customize further your metahuman. If you duplicate and unlock in the first place the character when you enable editing, this will just keep a previous version of your mesh. After that, it's a matter of customizing every details and aspects of your metahuman, from the skin color, the eyes, the shape of your teeth, specific color region on your face, etc. etc. Then you can focus on the proportions of your metahuman's body and make sure to have a look at his head scale, because sometimes I found it a little bit oversized. Finally, I'm adding some clothes, something sporty, and voila! My metahuman is created. No need to bother saving during all the process because it is automatically done. You will find out the final results and your metahuman directly in Bridge under Metahumans and My Metahumans. Select it, choose the quality and download it. Once it's downloaded, you can add it into your scene, and now you will have a new metahuman folder with the blueprints of the metahuman itself. Open the blueprints and go directly to the viewports. Common issue with metahuman when you select a certain type of hair is that all the LOD is not yet constructed. So you have this issue where your hair is disappearing, and in order to fix that, just select the LODSync component and change default LOD. I know that this kind of hair has just 2 LODs, so I could put 2, but here, in order to facilitate the process, I'm just putting 0 in order to always stream the highest quality of the hair. And finally, to visualize your metahuman, you just click and drag your blueprint, and here you have your digital double. Now let's play with our metahuman. In order to do so, create a level sequence and bring your metahuman into this sequencer. When you add it, it will automatically bring the two control rig of the body components and the face components. And here it's just really simple. Select one controller of the body, for example, and just make your move, animation, and add keyframes, just as we usually do in animation. Same for the face, but instead of the body, you have a more complex control rig, and you can control almost every aspect of your metahuman's face. And that's really cool. And just as I said, you just have to pick the controller you want, add the keyframes, advance in your timeline, and continue to do so. Everything is well made, you have access to every little details of your metahuman, fingers, wrist, hand, etc. etc. Don't forget that you can have access also to additional tools that will help you control and animate your metahuman. If you go to your folder Metahumans Command and Command, you have the Utilities folder where you can find the MHCR picker. Right click and run Editor Utility Widgets, and you will have this window that will help you select and toggle between IK and FK on your mesh. Same thing for the face, but if you go to animation mode and click on poses, you will have access to the control rig pose, and here if you go to the Metahumans folder command pose library, face, you have two folders, expressions and Viziums. If we start first with expressions, you will find different expressions from anger to joy, and you can apply this pose directly into your Metahuman. Select an expression, click on Select Controls, and then you can paste the pose directly. We just paste the pose, but you can add keyframes by selecting Key and repaste the pose. Then you can go further, select another expression, re-click on Paste Pose and continue to do so. And it will automatically do the transition between all your expressions. Having access to all the folders in the Control Rig Pose tab is kind of difficult, so don't forget you can right-click into the outliner and add existing folder to view in order to add all the hierarchy and the folders you want afterwards. And Viziums will help you create labial expression on your Metahuman. Same as the expressions, you can select the Viziums you want, select controls and paste the pose. We just saw the manual way to do things, but now we will use our phone and the ARKit just in order to capture live data. Via Windows command, you will need to get your IPv4 address of your Wi-Fi and copy-paste it into the LiveLink Face application. Once it's downloaded, open the app and go to the top left corner with the gear. Select it, make sure you are on the LiveLink mode and just search for the streaming with the LiveLink, click on it and add a target, which is the IPv4 address of your Wi-Fi. By default, it will not record the head rotation movements, so make sure you enable it. Now you can go back to Unreal, Window, Visual Production and click on LiveLink. Here you're going to find the iPhone you just connected via the application. Don't forget, for the moment, it's only working with Apple devices. Now, in order to really enable the ARKit, just select your blueprint in the viewport, go in his detail panels, and search for ARKit Face Subject, choose your iPhone, and click on Use ARKit Face. And here, I am just talking, making some weird faces, all in live. Then I create a new level sequence where I placed my Metahuman and a new camera. Here I can still activate the ARKit, but it's not really recording and I can't really use it for the moment. It's just activated, but I can't do anything with it. To correct that, you just go to Window, Cinematics, and we're gonna use the Take Recorder. This is mainly used in virtual production because here you can record any actor in your scene and save it as a level sequence. Here I'm adding the leveling, but it's really not necessary, you can just add your blueprint. Once you add the two sources in your Take Recorder, make sure you activate the ARKit and just press play in the Take Recorder. Then you can just talk and do whatever you want. When you're happy and you want to finish, click on stop, and now you can click on the browse to on the bottom right corner. Then you will have a new content browser where you can find all the scenes just recorded. It is just level sequences and you will find all the blueprints and components you just recorded. You will have these overlapping metahumans because when you record something with a Take Recorder, it will make automatically spawnable the components and actors you place in it. So make sure to hide the previous metahuman we placed in the viewport and just keep the spawnable one. And of course, if you want to go further, you can reopen the last sequencer we just created with the camera and go to your component face of your MetaHuman, delete the control rig, select the plus track, animation at the top, and select the last one. This will bring the animation of the component alone and add it into your sequencer. The disadvantage of this workflow is that you won't have back the head rotation animation you just recorded, unless you delete the actual MetaHuman in your sequencer and add a subsequences track in order to go and look for the scene you just recorded. This will add all the sequences you just recorded, and you will have all the components in it, and you won't have the issue with the head rotation anymore. Just make sure to hide again the blueprint you just placed in the viewport. Another workflow I wanted to show you is the brand new Metahuman Animator feature. Since a couple of months now, you are able to record with your phone data that will be interpreted with a new plugin that will allow you to have more detailed and high quality facial capture. First of all, you want to make sure to go to your project settings, filter caching, and give some extra gigabytes and threads in order to facilitate the process with all the heavy data we're gonna handle. Then we need to reopen the LiveLink Face app and this time choose the Metahuman Animator mode. By clicking on the gear on the top left corner, you want to look for OSC server and copy the IP address. Then go to your content browser, right-click Metahuman Animator and add the capture source. With the capture source open, you will have multiple choices, such as LiveLink Face Connection and LiveLink Archives. We're going to use LiveLink Face Connection as we don't want to send data and have it locally. This is why you're going to put the device address, which is the OSC server. Then if you go to Tools and Capture Manager, you will see the capture source actor with all the data connected from your phone. You can select a folder, add to queue, and import the data. This is called Ingestion. Next step is to go back to our content browser and create a new Metahuman identity. This time, we're gonna create components from footage, which is the one we just ingested. Selected, and now you have an overview of the footage you just did and a new tab, which is the footage timeline. You can dock it at the bottom of your screen and we can go further. As we did earlier, we will need to promote keyframes. Not just one this time, but 3. One with a front view, left and right view. You just can scroll in the timeline, select a view that match what you need, and just click on the plus icon as we did earlier. Then run a Metahuman Identity solve. Here I select another type of body and go to Mesh to Metahuman with a full body as we did earlier, but this is not necessary. You can go just with the first option, then you need to add teeth. Select pose in the outliner, click on plus add pose, add teeth. Here is the same workflow as before. Try to find a shot where we can clearly see your beautiful teeth. Promote a keyframe and just make sure everything is in order. On the right side, if you hover over the information icon, you can see where guides need to be. If you have a hard time finding lower teeth, you can just hide it on the frame's outliner. Don't worry, it will work anyway. Teeth. Then click on Prepare for Performance. It's gonna take a little while, but when it's over, you will now have another skeletal mesh from your footage. Last asset we need is the Metahuman Performance. Open it and in your footage capture data, select the last footage you just processed, and for the Metahuman Identity, select the correct one. Here, for the head movement mode, I picked Control Ray. Finally, click on Process. It will kind of process 2 times and you will see all the magic of the Metahuman Animator. The overall process with the new plugin of the Metahuman Animator is done. Now we'll have 2 options to export all the work we did. We can export it as an animation or as a level sequence. And here I chose to export it as a level sequence directly, because it will avoid a common issue with the head detachment of the Metahuman. If I did an animation export, here I'm just showing you the result, you will see the head is not following with the body, and that's not what we want. To correct this problem, I found a workflow. First, you want to reopen the level sequence we just created from the data performance, right-click on the skeletal mesh, and bake animation sequence. Save it where you want, and with this animation sequence, we're gonna make some retargeting. Don't worry, it's really easy. In your content browser, right-click on it, and choose the retarget animation assets, duplicate and retarget. Here you will have this new window. In the IK retargeter, choose the RTG Metahuman. On the left you will have the source and the right the target. On the left, just choose the skeletal mesh from the footage, and on the right, the skeletal mesh of your actual Metahuman. You will find it easily because you will have the texture on it. Open a previews or a new sequencer, add your Metahuman, and here I'm just deleting all the control ring. You can add it after, don't worry. Select the face component, change the animation mode to use animation blueprint, and disable the post-process blueprint. And you can make keyframe if you want at the beginning. Next step is to open your animation blueprint assets. On the left side, double-click on the anim graph. Go look and focus on the node Layer Blend per bone. On the top right corner in his detail panel, just change the blend mode to blend mask. Click on the icon of the skeletal mesh at the top of the window, and now look at the left where you can find all the hierarchy of your mesh. Click on the little gear and choose blend profiles and add blend mask. Name it as you wish. And then we're gonna look for the head bone. When you found it, just put a value of 1. And go back to your animation graph. Select the node we just talked about, and at the right on his detail panel, just click on blend mask with the array and choose blend footage. You can compile and save. Now if you go back to your level sequence, add the track on your face components and choose the animation that we use for retarget. And then you see you have the red rotation and movements, and it follows up with the body. No more head detachment. We just created a blend mask, well placed by selecting the head bone, and now everything is working fine. Now you know everything on the Metahuman workflow. Nanite Landscape will be the next tutorial on next Thursday. So you better subscribe.